So there's still a lot of questions surrounding why Diddy was only sentenced to 4 years in prison. Well, I want to break it down a little bit. That way you guys can kind of understand exactly what happened. During this court hearing today for Diddy's sentencing, and before this even happened, Diddy has put this judge on notice that he is going to file an appeal. So just know that is coming. But I will say usually appeals are unsuccessful. And what the judge did kind of seals that in. I was talking about this for the past couple of days that I felt like Diddy's sentencing from the judge was going to fall in the guidelines of the probation department. And their findings were 70 to 87 months in prison, and the judge still went a little bit lower than that. And the reasons why the judges usually side with the probation department is because they're a neutral party. So you have the prosecution that usually asks for too much time based on the guideline ranges, and then you have the defendants asking for too little time based on what they're being charged with. Diddy's two charges under the Mann Act really don't carry that significant of time. But the judge and even the probation department agreed that they believe that Diddy should have enhancement added to make it a longer sentence. And that was because all of the violence that was shown in the trial. And Diddy kept trying to argue, well, this is acquitted conduct, but not necessarily was that acquitted conduct, because like a lot of you guys were yelling through the whole trial, Diddy was never charged with domestic violence. So the judge determined a more strict sentencing on Diddy, where he gave him 50 months based on the violence that was shown throughout this trial. If it wasn't for that, Diddy wouldn't have even got that much time. If you also note, he stayed consistent with the probation department's findings and even a little bit under. That way, in case Diddy appeals it, it's not going to go anywhere. The judge technically can do what he wants, but at the same time, he can't just come out swinging like, yes, I'm going to give him 11 years like what the prosecution is wanting if it's going to turn around and be appealed, because then he could risk getting in trouble himself. So the sentence of 50 months that the judge just gave Diddy, yes, was way more than what the normal charges would carry. But also, he made sure he stayed in a line. That way, when Diddy appeals, like I said, he's put him on notice that he is going to, it's not going to cause an issue, and Diddy's pretty much stuck with this sentence. The other big question that I see people asking me, well, how much time will Diddy sit if he was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months? I'm about to break it all down. Diddy first went to jail September 16th of 2024, which means he's been in there for a year and a couple weeks. So if you subtract that time from 4 years and 2 months, that equals about 3 years and let's just say a month. But in federal prison, you have to serve about 85% of your time and you could get good time credits. Which means at the end, Diddy is looking at a little over 2.5 years that he would have to sit even if he's granted good time. And let me say once again, that's if he is granted good time. You don't have generalized backgrounds of what's actually happening when these sentencings occur. It might feel like Diddy is getting off. Y'all know that he was found not guilty of some of the most serious charges. Honestly, this sentence that he handed down to Diddy is not good for Diddy, and it definitely represented the victims that were hurt because of Diddy. I know a lot of people are like, well, he could have got 11 years, but you have to understand the prosecution will push it out as far as possible, the same way Diddy was like, I'm gonna get out today. What the judge did was actually hold Diddy accountable for what he did to these women, because usually 2 Mann Act charges do not carry that amount of time. And he only came up with this much of a sentence because all of the violence that was shown throughout this trial. So technically, Diddy got more time than what somebody would if they got charged with the Mann Act convictions. At the same time, this judge was smart to make sure that he wasn't pushing it too far, because if he did, he knows Diddy is about to appeal it. Yes, Diddy's victims did get some justice today, and it's one that they wouldn't normally get if it wasn't for all this violence shown throughout this trial. Mind you, this is the same exact violence that Diddy was bragging about in trial. I didn't traffic anyone, it's just domestic violence. And even though it got him free on a lot of those bigger charges, it turned around and bit him in the Now, I hope you guys understand exactly what all happened today, but y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.